Hey everybody, Nassim Haramein here, and I'm here with Mohamed, Ibrahim, and I'm so excited because we are talking about the trip we're about to take, this amazing journey we're about to take on all together. Mohamed is our amazing guide of Egypt, so knowledgeable and so amazing. We wanted to discuss, so thank you, Mohamed, for coming to talk with me for a few minutes today.
Hi, Nassim. This is my pleasure. And it is something very important to explain the tour to our audience.
Yes. You know, behind me is one of our favorite favorite pyramid, the so-called Ben Pyramid.
Because of this pyramid, my whole life changed. And I moved from the level of regular Egyptologist. I was against the story explaining that this pyramid was a mistake. And that's why I started to believe that there was ancient technologies, there was different civilizations, advanced civilizations in Egypt. So that pyramid is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. So really that pyramid like sent you on a journey of exploration and a different way of thinking about Egypt.
Yes. And we are lucky that after almost 65 years, we are going to visit this pyramid from inside. That pyramid closed for 65 years.
Wow.
Happened 2 years ago.
Okay.
So we are going to go inside. And also there is a little pyramid behind it. We're going to see it also because it will complete the, what we call it, the circle of energy. As if we talk about alpha energy and omega energy, the big pyramid and the small pyramid.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's one thing that like I really appreciate about you is that you're rigorous Egyptologist, archaeologist, and at the same time you're able to like understand that there's energetic relationships between these monuments and these temples, and it's important to take that in consideration when we're going to visit.
When you deal with the Egyptian history with passion and with sharp eyes also, you understand it is very easy to understand that there was something about these designs, about the types of stones they chose, about the locations. So these are not random structures. These are not just places for burials. No, my friend, the ancient Egyptians left all the evidences and all the details to tell us that they were targeting something else. The function of these pyramids and these sites are completely something else. Hard mind 200 years ago who invented the term Egyptology, they focused only on the last layer of the Egyptian civilization. They focused on the last function of these sites to be temples for religion or tombs or similar.
Yeah, and so there's evidence that the functions of these buildings and the building of these buildings predates all of that later layers of use of these buildings, isn't it?
Of course, and also we have many evidences to prove this. We have geological evidences, and we have evidences. Like we know that the Sphinx one day supposed to face east in a certain, it is facing east right now, but one day there was Leo in the sky facing the pyramid, the Sphinx. So we talk about circles of years, what we call it grand year. It is almost 26,000 years. So we know that the Sphinx at least was there 26,000 BC. And it could be the double, could be for 52,000, and it could be also the triple, the quadruple. Okay, so not only 26, it could be several cycles, and so many other evidences. And the beauty of this tour that we are not going to show the people the evidence only, but we are going to teach them how to find the evidence. So we will show them many things inside museums and in the sites itself, but also we will explain to them how to look in certain corners, in certain hidden sides of the statues or of the sites, so they can understand if this building was built by what we call them the dynasties, the regular Egyptian history, or was built before the dynasties. So we talk about the before the cataclysm, the pre-Diluvian time, before 9,700 BC. And when I say before 9,700 BC, that is very conservative opinion,
Yes.
because tens and maybe hundreds of thousands of years.
Wow, this is amazing, because I mean, I remember when we were walking around the Valley Temple together, and we were looking at the erosions on some of these like 250,000 ton block, 200, yeah, and 200 ton, no, I'm sorry, 250-ton block. They're immense, right? Like you're like an ant beside it, and you look at the erosion. Not only did they put them there, but they stacked them, and you look at the erosion on the last block on the stack, and it's enormous. And when it was looked at, the evidence of the erosion and how eroded these stones are, in the environment of the desert over there, it would require at least 10,000, 12,000 years to erode like this, isn't it?
And that is the beauty of bringing so many experts in different fields, so they can get the other sides of the story. Okay, one of the main science we need when we study the ancient history is geology. So geology can easily tell you that Egypt after 9,700 BC became like what we call it desert climate. No rain, okay, hot during the summer, dry, and warm winter, and very little rain during the winter time. And as you said, we have huge blocks, bigger than buildings sometimes, some of the blocks bigger than buildings. So these erosions we see, and these deep cuts, not just the surface, but the fissures go deep into the body of the block or the stone. So when this can happen if we keep that stone in the Egyptian environment for more than 30 or 50,000 years.
Wow.
But if have this time, okay? So it must happen before 9,700 BC. It must happen in a very rainy season. So that was the perfect time, 9,700 BC. But if we agree that this is the story, so this building must have been built before 9,700 BC. And that's the story of geology. And the same story if we talk about zoology. According to the writings and the painting drawings of ancient Egypt, Egypt must have giraffes, must have lions, must have elephants. And the same story, the Egyptian environment doesn't fit the existence of these animals. But before 9,700 BC, it was good environment with all the savanna grass and the jungle. There was no desert, okay? So it was okay to have elephants, giraffes, and hippos and lions. Okay, someone will tell you maybe that existed, but there was no human yet. Okay, but I'm using the Egyptian language as record, main record, that if the giraffe existed in the Egyptian language as one letter, if the lion and many of the lion body, parts of the lion body, and the same for the elephant existed in the Egyptian language, so it means that they witnessed those animals. So there was humans, there was ancient Egyptians before 9,700 BC.
Yeah, and there's so much evidence, both in the geology and the zoology and in the Morses, in the stories of the Egyptians as well. And it's remarkable, and it's awesome to be able to see it together, to see it for real. It's one thing to talk about and see it on pictures and stuff, but when you're there and you see it, it's amazing. I mean, in the geology side, these erosion rocks, the way the archaeologists dealt with was like, oh, maybe they used already eroded rocks to like build the temple. Now tell us why that's not possible.
Same way when they invented the story of the pounders, the dolorite stones, because we found very nice designs from granite during or from Old Kingdom time. And according to all the museums all over the world and all the storage rooms, we don't have a single tool from iron found from Old Kingdom time. The only types of metal we have from Old Kingdom are two types, bronze and copper. Okay, so there is no person on earth with like logic, normal logic. I'm not talking about smart or intelligent, with normal logic, can imagine that copper can cut granite.
That's right.
So they decided to like try to find another solution, and they said they used harder type of granite, or they used dolorite, or what we call it granodiorite stone, and these were the main tool to cut the granite. It is the same story of the erosions. They said, yes, there are erosions, but maybe it was already there when they cut the stone, and they didn't bother to clean the stone or to polish the stone or to smooth it, and they put it as it is. This the famous way to cover up the original story, or to cover up the evidence.
Right. Well, you know, clearly when you look at the way the stones were stacked, for instance, in the Valley Temple or near the Temple of the Sphinx and so on, you can clearly say, and as well, many other amazing temples we're going to see that are on the Giza Plateau that most people pass by, and you know, that clearly show that the top layer is much more eroded than the lower layer. So clearly the erosion occurred while the stone was part of the building.
Exactly. And we are going to see in the temple of Menkaura, inside the temple, there is a small building or like small wall from mud bricks. Okay. And it's supposed to be the same time, 4th dynasty. So how come the limestone eroded and some of the sections of the limestone wall almost disappeared, and the mud brick is still there? So this is another evidence that we are talking about two different civilizations and two different times, two different builders. Everything is telling us that there was at least one advanced civilization before 9700 BC. And in the recent researches I'm doing with some friends who I convinced them to convert. Okay, they now believe in such stories. Okay, we reached the fact that maybe Egypt witnessed many civilizations, at least 10 civilizations before what we call it the dynasties. Okay,
right.
And
so it was not unusual for dynastic pharaohs to claim various buildings and areas as their own, put their name on it and so on, predated them by thousands of years. You know, it's much more what should be called chematology, you know, and as well the starting the understanding both like in Egypt, in Peru, and in many different cultures around the world, where you see evidence that there was pre-dynastic, pre-Egyptian, pre-Maya, pre-Inca, and so on constructions that were claimed by the later generations, much later civilizations, and we've only reported on these later civilizations assuming that they were the builders and the civilization that generated this. But you know, there's a lot of evidence that's really piling up at this point.
And as I told you, maybe I don't blame the dynasty for deceiving us, because no one can resist putting his name or her name on such site. But this is something, it would be a kind of great thing to do, going there, and it is plain surface, okay? But as you said, not only Egypt, there's Peru, in Mexico, in many other civilizations, many other places, in Iraq too. And the decent priests during these times, they left records for us, like the Egyptian one, Manitun. They left records saying that they talk about an early beginning. In Iraq, they talk about 36,000 BC. And the same time in Egypt, they talk about 36,000 BC. But unfortunately, Egyptologists, they play as a picky person. They choose what they want and they deny what they want.
It's called cherry picking. Yeah.
So the Iraqi early records are talking about 36,000 BC, the first ruler, and the same thing, the ancient Egyptian priest is talking about 36. So this could be the beginning of the last civilization of ancient Egypt. The same in the beginning of the last civilization.
So Mohamed, tell us a little bit of what we're going to see when we're over there, and like the amazing things we're going to see, because I know we have a really packed schedule. Like, this is not a vacation. It's going to be an amazing, journey. But, and we got a lot of special places we're going to see that people don't get to see usually, right?
I call it amazing tour, and maybe many people will call their tours amazing tour, and it will be amazing, but ours is completely different. The only tour, and by the way, I do tours all the year, okay? And I do also amazing tours for others. But this tour is very special for many reasons. Number one, the number of private visits we are going to do is exceeding 15 visits. 15 visits. And we are going to do some private visits, which also quite rare as private visit, like going inside the 3 pyramids of Giza in one night. This is something very special. Many people can get the permission to do the Great Pyramid. And when I say private permission, what does it mean, private permission? Is to go inside the place or the area outside the working hours. So either before the working hours, before 7 o'clock in the morning, or after 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And it will be only our group. Nobody else, no other groups, no vendors, no hustlers, no camel riders, nobody else, only our group. The place will be ours for 2 hours. 8 hours, 120 minutes. We are going to enjoy the place, the atmosphere, the clean energy. So as I said, many people can get that permission to go inside the Great Pyramid, but we will get the permission to visit the second pyramid, which is also can be called available. But what we are offering, the new thing we offer in this tour, the third pyramid, it is closed, officially closed. No permissions, no anything else. But because we always keep good relations with the authority, and they know that we are doing like really rich type of tour, and we pay lots of money because we do the many private permissions. So we have their trust. So we open the third pyramid at Giza Plateau. So we're going to visit the 3 pyramids in one night. That is, I always call it completing the circle. Not only Giza, but in Saqqara, we are going to do very special visits in Saqqara. We cannot escape visiting under Saqqara pyramid itself. But the new thing we're going to do in this tour too, that we will visit the newly opened, what we call it, the southern tomb, or it's a shaft in the south side of the pyramid. It's a copy from the shaft under the step pyramid, with the same design, the same measurements, and the same type of big granite box. So we're going to see that one also, plus private visit to the Serapeum. Look, I can tell you that if we say 10,000, 10 million tourists visited Egypt in the last 10 years, 9,500,000 didn't see the serapeum.
Right. And the serapeum is so amazing. It's so amazing.
What we are going to do is something better, that we are not only going to see the serapeum, but we are going to see a special section inside the serapeum. So those 500,000 people who visit the serapeum, they always saw an iron door closed, always closed. And they ask what is behind. Most of the tour guides maybe don't know. And if they know, they say it's a new excavation, new extension with some boxes inside. There are no, the word some boxes are not accurate. It is just one box inside. But guess what? It is double size of the boxes in the serapeum.
Which are already huge, which are already insanely huge, like 200-ton, 300-ton boxes.
So if we talk about the regular size of the serapeum boxes, which about 100 tons, the one inside is 200 tons, one solid piece of granite.
Right.
So we already did the permission to visit the serapeum and that special section. We will do also at Luxor and Aswan. We are going to visit Dandara as a private visit. No one else. Dandara, they will also open for us new crypts, new secret rooms under the ground.
Wow.
Were closed for hundreds of years. There was one crypt only open. The famous one was what they call it, the Dandara light bulbs. But we're going to see that one, and we're going to see 3 more, plus Dandara Temple itself. We're going to visit Elephantine Island, private visit. We're going to do the Osirian Temple. Yeah, how I forgot this one in Abydos. And the same number, if we say 10 million visited Abydos, more than 9 million and maybe 900,000 didn't visit the serapeum. They just saw it from a distance. But we are going to go there, and we will be so close to see the flower of life. And that's why many people think it is just one depiction, one drawing. No, we're going to see 9 drawings of the flower of life. Why we know that they are 9? Because we will be inside the location, not taking photos from a distance like most of the people.
Mm-hmm.
We have our own boat. We booked a whole boat for our tour, so we can control our schedule. We can sail to any distance, the time we want, and we spend as much as we want. We cannot, or we will not stick with the schedule of the boat because they serve other clients. No, we are the only client inside the boat. And that led us to do something very important, that we ask it to have our also, or the highest quality of food and drink, because it is our boat. We have a charter boat. So we are free to do anything inside the boat to upgrade everything. And by the way, the boat itself in general is one of the good boats on the Nile. But with that case, we are going to be treated like royals. Okay. So I cannot tell you how many surprises, how many good sides, and so many important things in this tour.
Yeah, it's hard to put in words what happens when you walk into, like, for instance, that I think 8-story high shaft under Saqqara that has a diorite box that's like 2-story high. Like, that thing is just mind-blowing, and it just totally changed your perspective, and to see it in person. And these things are things that, I mean, very little people have seen.
Yes, as I told you, unfortunately, many travel agencies, they escape taking their people to these places because to go there you must buy extra ticket. If the is publicly open for the public, and if it is not like the serapeum and that extra extension, it needs private permission.
Mhm.
So it's of dollars. So that's why most of the people don't see it. Even on on photos like on Google or on any internet website, because there is no much photos about it. You reminded me of something also important, because we have our own boat. So we are going to stop in a place. All the boats don't stop there. When they move or sail from Luxor to Edfu, they cross through an area called Esna. They never stop, but we are going to stop because there is a very beautiful temple called Esna Temple. And the surprise that this temple is recently renovated. They removed all the black layer, the soot, and now we can see very beautiful colors and decorations on Esna Temple.
Oh, wow. That's going to be amazing.
And I also forgot to mention that we have something also most of the people don't do it. We will have a very special dinner. That dinner, it will be a fancy dinner, okay? But it is not about the dinner itself. It will be about the location of the dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Explaining to people what kind of place they expect to have this fancy dinner. They maybe tell me names of hundreds of restaurants overlooking the Nile or the pyramid or in fancy places. No, we are going to have dinner inside Luxor Temple.
Wow.
Inside.
Right where, you know, right where there's like the path of the Sphinx.
Exactly, between the Sphinx Avenue and the gate was all the statues and the carvings. So
That's such an amazing place. That is such an amazing place. The energy there is incredible. And you know, I remember walking down the alley of the Sphinx and just feeling the power of the path of initiation that like must have occurred at the time and so on. And it's just an amazing place that we're gonna be able to have. So it will be like after hours then.
It will be dinner, okay, dinner time. So it's about 8 o'clock p.m. and we're going to spend some time. Okay, people will enjoy because I know the type of energy you are talking about. I felt it so many times because as an Egyptian, normally I don't feel it, or I feel it, but I don't recognize it. Okay, when it gets higher and higher, then I feel it. So I feel it many times, especially as I told you, when we go there and there is nobody else, then the place will have a moment to cleanse itself and to clean all the energy from the other visitors, and it will be pure energy waiting for us inside the place.
Yeah, it's amazing because you can really feel when the place has been closed and everything, and it's like everything starts to resonate back to its fundamental resonance frequency because there's not all these people walking everywhere and ringing everything, and so it just amplifies. And oh my god, the energy is just amazing. Just like when we're gonna be in the pyramids, the 3 pyramids with our group, you know, in Giza. It's completely different than during opening hours. I remember from the last time we did this, and it was so powerful that night. It's probably one of the most memorable moments of my life, you know, with the birth of my children. You know.
Also going to do the private visit to the Sphinx. So you see, we are almost doing this tour private. Private flight. Okay. October is going to be busy season in Egypt. Okay. And most of the flights are going to be very early, like 5 o'clock in the morning. And I think you remember that terrible flight in 2017. Okay. But this time we managed to have a contract with one of the airline here in Egypt, local airline, and we're going to have a very decent flight for our passengers in a very good time, 8:30 in the morning, noon. So we are going to have also our own flight, our own boat. We booked the best hotel in Giza and in Egypt, Marriott Mina House. Mina House is the one very close to, or the closest. So when we say we are going to Giza Plateau by bus, it will take only 3 minutes driving to approach the pyramid. So I cannot give more details about the beauty and the magic of this tour. And on the Nile, with the Nile cruise. By the way, we have 7 nights between Aswan and Luxor. 7 nights cruise down. This is also one of the best experiments, and I call always the time of the Nile cruise is the best or the highlight of the tour itself. Okay.
Yeah, I remember, some of my best memories as well is doing talk story. How I do like a fireside chat with everybody at night, and we discuss all sorts of things that I don't necessarily discuss in the public. And I will be presenting the paper we're finishing now, Olivier Alérol and I, Dr. Alérol and I, on unifying physics. And so people will be previewed to the physics of unification, which we finished, we nailed. I'm so excited about it. And so I'll be able to present that. And I just love, usually you're on the deck of the top of the boat, and it's beautiful. You have pyramids and temples all around you, and you're on the Nile, and it's so calm and beautiful. And we get to discuss all these things. It's just magical.
October is a very good month for this. The weather is going to be fantastic. Spring, the no heat, not cold. It will be very nice weather. And yes, as you mentioned, we are going to. We already booked the meeting rooms or the lecture rooms, either in Cairo or at the boat, and we have our own even equipments to do presentations at the boat. We have the big screens, and we have the projectors, we have the sound system. So we are fully prepared for this type of tour. So people find in several levels as services, accommodation, food, information, sites, energy, entertainment, everything. If I see an advertisement to such tour, I would definitely go and join in
It's going to be a historical tour. And it's so awesome to be able to like be in the dust and the desert and, crawling down tunnels and, all day long. And then when you get back to your hotel or to the boat, you're in like 5-star, kind of like level of luxury, so that you can like take nice warm showers and and you have that relaxing environment, where you feel safe and well taken care of. And it makes all the difference. It just does.
Exactly. And as you said, we will have like hundreds of chances to have side talks, either speakers with the participants or the group between or among themselves while eating, because we're going to have the 3 meals included at the boat. So they're going to meet 3 times every day on tables, building new relationships, having new friends, sharing their opinions and their thoughts about mainly Egypt or anything else. Okay. We will also give many chances to the people to break the routine of the day, taking them to the coffee shop. So they will be able to go to local coffee shops, not these kind of fancy coffee shops like any other big capital in the world or in Europe. No, we're going to taste the Egyptian with Eastern style of coffee shops, offering them the Egyptian Oriental types of drinks, and we will not forget the Turkish coffee. And I will extend the story why we call it Turkish coffee. Not correct, but that has a story behind this. Okay.
Right.
So
I mean, in these tours, Mohamed, from the tour we did in 17 and all the other tours I did in Mexico and other places, Peru, Bolivia, and so on, the group becomes so coherent and so coalesced together, and like people make friendships for life there, meet people from all around the world. And then it becomes a really powerful experience, because so many people have so many things to contribute. And as well, like you make bonds that you'll never forget. And, people that were in the last tour in Tulum are still, spending so much time talking to each other and exchanging information and so on. And some of them will be there with us in Egypt. And, it's part of building a global community, transferring the new knowledge, the new information, the new story, the new worldview into the world.
In fact, I agree with you 100% because the leaders of this tour, they already put that concept that they want everybody to be happy. They want everybody to feel the energy, to enjoy the tour. And we are as one big team. Okay, we are from different locations. Okay, but we started this concept. Okay, being friends and being so we know each other now for how many years? For 5 years now. Okay, because of one tour we did together. So the same thing will happen with the clients who will see each other every day, every morning, every afternoon, every evening for 14 days. That's why always the last day is the hardest day. The day was lots of passion. Okay, and that is why the last day is going to be a very special day in our tour. I will not tell the people about the surprise, but it is something also very special, and it was not happened before. And like the place or the thing we are going to do will add too much to the tour or to the end of the tour. Okay. So yes, I agree with you 100%. People are going to find and discover so many things about themselves and about the others.
Exactly. It's an amazing journey. People will never be the same afterwards. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be amazing. And I'm so grateful for your knowledge, Mohamed, and your capacity to do this, because it's not easy what you do. It's hard. It requires a lot of work and a lot of relationships and managing a lot of things. And so thank you so much, Mohamed, for making this possible for us and for the world. I can't stress this enough. This is really a beautiful opportunity. It will change your life. If you are interested, you have to get registered and get it done now, because there's very little space left. And so it's now or never, and it will change your life. And we'll all come back change from it. We're really kind of like going deep down the rabbit hole with Mohamed to like get to the source of the truth of what really happened in Egypt, and when it happened, the message that it left us for our future, for our now and for our future. That's really, really important. So
I agree with life-changing tour.
yeah,
Don't miss.
don't miss it. Thank you so much, Mohamed. So great to have you. I can't wait to be with you in Egypt. It's gonna be amazing. Thank you so much. Okay, good, great. I think that went well.
We just described the real thing. We didn't add any exaggerations or anything, but the opposite, that there are many things we didn't tell the people.
Right.
So they are going to see so many surprises. They are going to understand the value of this tour.
Right. Okay.
Serves airport to the hotels. As I told you, we are not going to bother the people to take their luggage to the airport. No, we will send that truck at night to take all the bags and drive to Aswan. So people will go light to the airport. They will not be bothered with the security. Check your bag. What is this? What kind of metals you have? There's so many stupid stories. Okay. So this tour is a diplomatic tour.
Yes, wonderful. Yeah. Well, okay, I am not going to take more of your time. Thank you so much, Mohamed. I appreciate it. I can't wait to be there. It's going to be amazing, and I look forward to being there pre-tour as well, and going through things and looking at things.
Good itinerary for you.
Awesome. I'm sure. I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. All right. Thank you, Mohamed.